This video is hopefully going to be short, just to help with those who are having issues moving the Logic sound library. First thing I'll do here is launch Logic. Shouldn't take a second on this machine. And show you the library path as it is for me right now. So right now I have the sound library in one of my drives, a 4 terabyte Thunderbolt 5 drive. And let's say that I'm moving this library and this drive from one machine to another, which is effectively what I did. But I didn't want to reinstall that entire 86 gigabyte library that comes with Logic. In most cases, with most systems, like Contact and other libraries, you literally just reassociate that library on the new computer. So you could actually have a drive that's going to be connected to multiple machines or even over a network or other connections. You could just reassociate those libraries with the new system, and that doesn't stop you from using it with the old system too. With Logic, an individual drive will be connected to the machine and it doesn't like seeing them, so you have to kind of trick it. So how do you do that? Well, first I'm going to make Logic think that this library is not installed, and I'm going to do that by taking this entire library folder you see here, application support, and you'll see there's a Logic folder there, and I'm just going to send it to the trash can using the command delete function. Now it's not deleted, it's just in the trash can, you'll see here. I'm going to quit Logic. So once it quits, I'm going to open it again. Sound library. Yeah, you can't. So the only option here is to reinstall the sound library, right? So in that case, even if it did see the library on another drive, it would not locate it. So what I'm going to do is take that library. I'm going to put it back in the folder it was in temporarily, just so I can make an example for you. I'm going to copy it to this empty drive. So let's see how fast 100 gigs copies between two Thunderbolt drives. One is a Thunderbolt 3 drive, and the other is a, wow, that's much longer than I hoped for. So I'm going to pause the recording here and not make you watch that, and we'll be back. Okay, if you were watching the last shot, the last scene of this video, you'll notice that it didn't actually take 40 minutes. It actually sped up right after it started, and now it says less than a minute. So I'll just keep going. What I'm going to do is I'm putting this on another drive as if we were going to be moving this library to another place and we want Logic to see it. So I'm doing this just for you guys, even though I'm not actually going to move my library at all. Let me explain what's going to happen. I'm going to remove the drive where I actually want my library to be stored. So I'm going to do this twice, and you're going to see it once, but I'm going to have to do it again to move the, actually I think I'm going to leave it on this drive. Actually, this works for me too. I don't need it on my other drive. I'm keeping both these drives. By the way, this drive you're seeing here is a RAID in a Thunderbolt 3 enclosure that has 4 drives, well, can have 4 drives. And individually, while this is finishing, I'll run Blackmagic speed test. The internal drive getting really great speeds, 6 gigs write, 5 gigs read. The external drive, oh, it finished. The external drive that I just mentioned, the Thunderbolt 3 connected RAID, is great, not as great as that one, but it's getting 2 gigs write and about 2 gigs read, which is fantastic. And that's important because when it wasn't rated, those 3 individual drives were achieving about 700 to 800 megs per second. So rated together, they're getting much higher read speeds and write speeds. This external Thunderbolt 5 drive, however, 4 terabytes, is faster than the internal, which is the first time I've ever personally experienced that. All right, all of that being said, now that library has copied to my external RAID, and I'm going to move that entire folder, at least the Logic part of it, to this trash can so it's not seen. And we're going to go to the sound library now, and we're going to tell it, actually I'm going to have to hide this as well. And we're going to tell it to reinstall the library. Oops, go back to Logic, sorry, wasting time. reinstall the library. Okay. So it's going to install only 2 gigs. And maybe I'll pause this. Well, that's not so bad. It's going to install the first 2 gigs of the library, not the entire 86 gigs, until it finishes. And that's being installed on the internal drive. That's not being installed externally. It doesn't know that I want to install externally yet. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to actually put this back for a second while it's doing that, and because I want to show you after it finishes, which is, pretty good connection to the Logic servers. I'm going to show you that Logic will see this library here on this RAID, and so it won't allow me to move the library there and reconnect it, which is kind of silly. I get that there could be some confusion between what's already on the drive and what's being replaced or merged across different libraries for different versions of Logic. Asking me for a password. All right, so it's installing the Essentials library. And this is being installed obviously on the internal drive. And then we're going to attempt to move it and show you what happens. Because I have 2 copies of it, I don't care if it makes a mistake, but I'm fairly certain of what's going to happen when it finally finishes. All right, so it looks to be almost finished. And now, if we go, we can go to the Relocate sound library, and you'll see that if I'm looking at these drives, it shows that there's a library there. Both these drives have libraries, right? So I want to put it on this drive, so I'm just going to remove that folder temporarily. Quit Logic. Open Logic again. Sorry, this is more complicated than it was supposed to be. Now we can go back to the Relocate library file, and you'll see there all right, it's still saying it. Let's see if I can get it to not see it. Put that back and then delete the entire folder. And now let's launch Logic again. Glad you're getting to see this fun error. So you'll see if it works, why it works, and why it didn't. So we'll go back to Sound Library again, Relocate, and now you can see that I can choose that RAID, and I'm going to relocate it there, which doesn't take long at these speeds. Okay, and now you see that library folder there, right? And now we're going to replace just, in the trash can, just those files. I don't know, where is this? Let me get info to see where this is. That's the other one. So we want these 2. And we're going to put them in there. Replace, and that was quick. And now we can quit Logic again. Open Logic, and Logic will see that huge installed library. Right there. The entire library is there. I hope that helps. That was a lot longer than I intended. Have a great day, everybody.